Every heartache, every tear, every prayer whispered in the stillness of night has a story, one that echoes through the ages. And in one woman's pain, we discover not just desperation, but a prayer that changed everything. In the book of 1 Samuel, we meet Hannah, a woman who carried a burden too heavy to bear alone. She longed for a child, but her womb was closed, and year after year, the pain of infertility wore down her spirit. Her grief was not just physical, it was emotional and spiritual, and in her deepest sorrow, she made a vow to the Lord. She cried out, "O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but wilt give unto thine handmaid a man-child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life." Hannah's heartache led her to the temple, where she poured out her soul before God. She wasn't praying in a loud, visible way, but her heart was deeply connected to God. Eli, the high priest, watched her from a distance, thinking she was drunk because her lips moved, but no sound came out. Eli approached her and said, "How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee." 1 Samuel 1 verse 14. But Hannah's response was filled with humility and honesty. She answered him, "No, my lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord." 1 Samuel 1 verse 15. She wasn't trying to escape her pain with earthly comforts. Instead, she was bringing her deepest sorrow to God, laying her soul bare before Him. And upon hearing her words, Eli's tone softened. He responded, "Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him." 1 Samuel 1 verse 17. With these words, Hannah's spirit was lifted. She believed that God had heard her prayer. She responded with gratitude, saying, "Let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight." 1 Samuel 1 verse 18. And from that moment, her countenance changed. No longer was she burdened with despair, but filled with peace and hope. And God, faithful to His word, answered Hannah's prayer. She conceived and bore a son, Samuel, whose name means "asked of God." In her joy, she didn't forget her vow. She returned to the temple and dedicated Samuel to the Lord, saying, "For this child I prayed, and the Lord hath given me my petition, which I asked of him." 1 Samuel 1 verse 27. Hannah's journey didn't end at the birth of Samuel. It was a story of faithfulness and trust. Her devotion to God was not just in words, but in action. She gave her son back to the Lord, knowing that He had blessed her with more than just a child. He had answered her heart's deepest longing. And so, Samuel grew in the presence of the Lord, serving in the temple under Eli's guidance. He would go on to become one of Israel's greatest prophets. Through her faith, Hannah not only received her son, but changed the course of history. Hannah's story teaches us that even in our darkest moments, God sees our pain and hears our prayers. It shows us the power of persistent faith, the beauty of surrendering our deepest desires to God, and trusting in His perfect timing. If you found hope in Hannah's story, share this message with someone who needs encouragement today. No matter what you're going through, remember that God sees you, hears you, and is faithful to His promises. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories of faith and hope from the Word of God.